In this video, I'd like to talk about 5 free VST plugins that I use on practically every track that I make. So I'm going to look at each plugin, take you through how I use it, have a quick look at it, and then build up a typical effects chain that I would use when making my own music. If you don't have a lot of money, then these 5 free plugins can definitely help you to maximize the potential of your music. I use these mainly when I'm working with ambient, but they could be appropriate for any type of music really. It's just a solid chain of effects that would work on most types of music. So you've probably seen some of these VSTs before in videos like this on free VSTs, because a couple of them are very popular. But I think the value of what I'm showing you in this video with the 5 is that they're not just 5 good VSTs. They work together in a chain. So this is what I actually use to produce my own music. A library of sounds right through a range of effects. You wouldn't need much more except a bit of EQ, a bit of compression, and you could make complete tracks right through. So that's where the value is in this video, not just a list of random VSTs, but a chain of VSTs that work together. So the first plugin that we're going to look at is a sample library that enables you to create sounds, and then the other 4 plugins are effects processing plugins that we can take the sounds from the first plugin and run through a series of effects. So we'll start with the first plugin, and the first plugin is Spitfire Audio Labs. I've had Labs for quite a while, a few years, and it's changed quite a bit over that time, but it is a very capable plugin. I use Ableton Live, and like all DAWs, Ableton comes with a huge amount of sounds, all sorts of different sounds. But I felt that in certain areas, Ableton Live was lacking in realistic sounds, orchestral sounds, organic sounds, that kind of area. I was finding it hard to find what I wanted within the sounds that came with Ableton. So I started looking for something that could provide me with those kind of sounds, and the plugin that I found was Labs by Spitfire Audio. Spitfire Audio are a company that produce VST plugins that are sample libraries. They record all sorts of musicians in all sorts of places, different ways. They have a very wide range of sample-based VST plugins. Their free offering is called Labs, and it used to be that Labs was completely free. Recently, they have extended the way that Labs works, and it now has a free side and a Labs Plus side. There are commercial patches available within the Labs VST now, which didn't used to be. And they've redesigned it, and they've changed the whole look of it, and they've changed the way that it works as well. And there's a whole range of sounds available here. There's choral sounds, there's drums, there's synths, there's all sorts of single instruments, guitars, basses, dulcimer, organs, strings. There's just a huge range of different types of sounds, and it's very good for real instruments because it's sample based. So real instruments, also granular type pads and effects. It's got a very broad range of sounds available in these packs, and these are the free packs. So what you have to do now is you go to a pack, say let's pick out one of my favourite Gaelic voices. So you click on this pack and you load one of the sounds, and then within this list here you can rotate around the different sounds that are available within that one pack that you've loaded. It used to be that you could rotate around all of they were already loaded when you went into Labs. The entire interface loaded all of your different sounds, but now you have to load a particular pack and then go around it, which makes it slightly harder to use, but All these great sounds are still available within Labs for free. So this is Gaelic Voices, and this is what it sounds like. So it's a lovely choral patch. And I've used that a lot in a lot of different tracks. I've used that. So let's just have a quick listen to a few other things. I'll very quickly go through some other things that I use a lot. Frozen strings, this is a great sound. So let's load this in. This is a lovely broken, fragile string sound. And you get a few settings in each of the sounds. Here we've got release, reverb and attack. So you can put a long release on it. "24 seconds release. There's a lovely brass pack here as well, which is called Trumpet Fields. Trumpet Fields features 2 amazing trumpet players performing soft, long notes with a range of granular elements. So this is what Labs excels at, really, is quite unusual sounds, but quite organic sounds, and based in samples of real players. These were the types of sounds that I was looking for, that I was missing in Ableton. So that's why Labs was so important to me. And I know that Spitfire Audio have had their ups and downs with various issues over the last couple of years. But Labs remains a very unique and interesting free sound source for people who haven't got a lot of money. It's a great way in with some great sounds for free. So this is Trumpet Fields, nice and steady. I like this one. It's just lovely. So I use these sounds a lot in my work. Often I'll record things in the studio, and then I will layer on sounds from Labs as extra elements when I'm finishing tracks off. So that's Labs, that's your sound source, your free sound source. It's a VST, it'll run in any DAW that runs VSTs. I use it in Ableton, but it'll run in anything. Let's go back to Gaelic Voices for this demo. So next I'm going to look at a granular plugin, and this plugin is called Emergence. And while in development, this version 0.3 was free and still is available for free from the Emergence page. There is a commercial version of this, a paid version, which has a lot more functionality, but this is still very capable. It's very versatile. You can do all sorts of things with it. It's a lot of fun. So the basic idea is that it records a loop of sound from what you're playing. It calls that the buffer. So it records a loop into its buffer. And then it has a feedback setting, which means that each time it goes round the loop, it will decay depending upon the feedback setting. If you have it at 100%, then it will never decay. So you play in one loop, and in this free version, you can go up to 5 seconds. So essentially you've got a 5-second loop, and it will never decay. Or you can have it slowly decaying with new sounds layering on top. And then it uses that buffer and it puts it through its granular engine. So it will take small snippets and replay them as grains to produce a granular effect dependent upon these other settings. So you've got to dry, the buffer, and then the output of the granulator. So we'll turn the granulator off and we'll put the feedback up to 1. Full 5-second buffer, just so that you can get an idea of how this is working. Okay, so let's just play something into it. So it's just playing back the 5-second loop. The little red dots are the grains where it is passing it through the granulator. So we can turn up that and see what we've got. So the length of the grains, as in how long the sample is, the time that they last, you can change all those with these settings. And then you could turn down the sound of the buffer. So this is just the sound of the granulator now. And you can just have hours of fun playing with this. Just the amount of grains, the time, the length. It's very easy to create beautiful things out of Emergence. And then on top of that, there is also a load of modulation. So if I wanted to, let's just see what if you move the time, so we could put a bit of modulation on LFO1 and then modulate the length. So very quickly you can build up really quite complex sounds from just a few notes. So this is our Gaelic voices running through Emergence and creating a granular loop that is producing a complex sound. So that is the second plugin, that's the first of our effects. We can take our wide range of interesting voices from labs, run it through Emergence. So now we're going to do some other things with this sound. So the next plugin I'm going to look at is called FreeAMP. It's from a company called Klevgrand. And this is a stripped down version of one of their plugins called ReAMP. And essentially what it offers you is tape saturation. But it's very nice, it's a lovely plugin, beautiful sound, and it's very versatile and quite easy to use. There are only 3 settings on it. So essentially there's a drive setting which takes up the saturation and starts to add a bit of distortion in. And then there's a mix so that you can bring that down again if you just want to touch. It can go quite distorted, or it can just be a very gentle, slight drive, saturation sound. I tend to use that on practically everything, really. It also enables you to push the level a bit on the sound. So it's a very nice little free saturation plugin, FreeAMP. So this next plugin is Delay Modulator. It's from a company called Imaginando. And they produce a nice range of plugins, and this is this flanger chorus plugin, delay modulator. DLYM, is a free plugin that they offer, and it's a lovely chorus plugin, very easy to use, and can add a lot of nice modulation to a sound. I use this a lot. It's particularly good on synth sounds and modular. It's great on modular, but it can, and again, it can go, like FreeAMP, it can go from quite subtle to, you know, quite intense chorus type effects. But I use this on most stuff just to add that small amount of modulation into the sound. So let's see what we can do on this. So we'll turn it on. We just can add some very nice subtle sounds in. So yeah, it gives you a whole range of modulation effects, chorus, flanger, and it's a very nice plugin. It's got a lot of presets that come with it as well. So it can do all sorts of crazy things. That's nice. We'll turn that back down a bit. And obviously within Ableton you can use LFOs and to modulate the settings within any of these plugins if you wanted to add more movement in. So we've now got our core voice from Spitfire Audio Labs. We've run it through Emergence, a granular plugin, so it's giving us this richer soundscape. We've added a little bit of tape saturation through FreeAMP, and now we've added some nice chorus and modulation on top of that. And we've got one last plugin now to shape this sound. SuperMassive is a well-known plugin, but it is an amazing free plugin. And this is from Valhalla. They do a range of great plugins, and this is their free plugin. They have actually 3 free plugins. It's hard to believe that this is free. It's a delay and reverb based plugin, and it has a huge scope, all sorts of different engines in it that are based on delay and reverb, a very wide range of effects to finish off your effects chain. SuperMassive competes with a lot of the expensive reverb plugins and pedals, guitar pedals. It's if you can't afford to buy like a £500 reverb guitar pedal, then SuperMassive would see you quite a long way to that kind of sound. I tend to like to use it in a number of different ways, either as full-on lush reverb plugin, or often in a kind of in its looper mode. It's really useful, and I'll be making a video about how I use SuperMassive as a Frippertronics looper quite soon. But in this video, I'm going to use it as end of effects chain to add some really nice lush reverb to the sound. Within here, you just get hundreds of presets. So within the reverbs, there is this section massive, and within here, 60% of infinity. This is a really lovely reverb. So let's turn our sound back on. And now we're going to add some Valhalla SuperMassive reverb to the chain. So these are 5 VST plugins that I use quite often in my music that are capable of amazing effects and very versatile. So hope that's useful for you. There are of course hundreds of free plugins out there, and I've tried a lot of them. But these are the top 5, I would say, of the plugins that I have tried and use all the time. So these ones have stuck with me. And I think you can't go wrong with downloading these and giving them a go. If you've got any other free VST plugins that you use a lot and you find very useful, put them down in the comments, and hopefully that will become a bit of a resource for other people looking for free plugins. Now I've got this sound set up with these 5 free VST plugins, I'm going to have a bit of a play with it and see what I can come up with. So I hope that's useful for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, bye.